Stop what you're doing and pay close attention because what I'm about to say may surprise you if you're a man over 60 and haven't ejaculated in a long time. Your prostate, hormones, and vitality may be subtly harmed if you don't release for months or even years. I've met men who believed that postponing ejaculation was good, only to find that it was actually depleting their vitality and power. I'm Dr. Mojit, a urologist and expert in men's health with over 30 years of expertise in assisting men in regaining their self-esteem, sexual health, and general well-being. I've dedicated my professional life to researching the effects of aging on male hormones, prostate function, and erections. And I can be quite convinced of this. It was never intended for your body to quit releasing. This is the paradox that most guys are unaware of. As if intimacy ends with age, society advises older men to slow down and repress their urges. However, your prostate naturally produces fluid continuously. Stopping the release causes pressure to build up inside your body, which might eventually decrease your vitality and cause silent difficulties. I'll go over why regular, healthy ejaculation is not only safe, but also necessary in this video. It maintains your vitality, balances your hormones, and shields your prostate. If you stick with me through to the finish, I'll tell you exactly how frequently you should release, what to do if you don't get any semen, and the safest approach to maintain healthy hormones and a healthy prostate after the age of 60. Please take a moment to switch on the notification bell and subscribe before we begin. In this manner, you won't miss another video about maintaining your energy, hormones, and prostate after 60. Type 1 in the comments section to express your support if this message speaks to you. If not, type 0 and let me know what you want me to talk about to make your life better and stronger. Let's get right to it now. We must first understand why ejaculation is still important after the age of 60 before discussing how frequently you should discharge, as the majority of guys believe it is optional. In actuality, though, it's one of the vital processes that sustains your vitality, hormones, and prostate. 1. The forgotten function, why ejaculation is important after 60. Most guys are unaware that being a man never really ends. Your prostate continues to function every day after the age of 60, silently generating fluid and getting ready to be released, all while preserving a system that nature created to remain functional throughout life. The main distinction is that many men begin to think they don't need to use it after a while. Perhaps you were told that having sex is no longer necessary, or that suppressing it is a way to preserve your power. However, I'll share with you what I've witnessed in my 30 years of practicing medicine. The reverse is true. Something more profound than the body itself starts to shut down when males completely stop ejaculating. The prostate is more than a little gland. It is an essential organ that requires on-movement to remain healthy, much like a live pump. That gland continues to swell with fluid every day, even after you stop releasing. That fluid thickens and the pressure increases if there is no escape. Many guys don't experience any soreness or weight in their pelvis, but some do. On the inside, however, circulation deteriorates, inflammation develops gradually, and the prostate may start to grow. This blockage may eventually result in poor flow, increased frequency of urine, or even chronic prostate issues. It's not just physical, though. Most males fail to see the emotional side of things. Your body and spirit both sense when you cease expressing your innate sexual rhythm. Numerous patients have expressed to me that they felt less motivated, less alive, or even less a part of the world. They say it was like a slow dimming of something within of them. They start to lose the spark and pulse that once gave them courage and self-assurance. Ejaculation is more than just a bodily act, you see. It tells your body that life is still alive inside of you. The hormonal aspect is another factor to take into account. The feedback loops between your brain and testes, as well as testosterone, are regulated by regular, healthy ejaculation. Fatigue, mood fluctuations, and a lack of motivation might result from testosterone levels dropping when that cycle ceases. In everyday life, as well as in sexual relations. That's why so many men tell me they feel lighter, more focused, and oddly younger when they resume healthy release later in life. Thus, the reality is straightforward. After 60, ejaculation isn't motivated by ego or lust. It's about upkeep, recycling, and circulation. It's about maintaining the smooth operation of manhood as nature intended. This is where it becomes even more intriguing. Your body does more than simply store fluid when you cease releasing for an extended period of time. It starts to alter blood flow and hormone processing completely. I'll show you what occurs within your body when that natural rhythm stops in a minute, and why inactivity can steal your vitality without you even realizing it. Second, what occurs within your body after you cease urinating? As a urologist for many years, I have witnessed this much too often. A man in his late 60s or early 70s enters into my office and complains that he is constantly exhausted, that he no longer has the same level of energy, and that he has lost his drive and motivation. "Doctor, it's been months, maybe years," he replies, looking down in embarrassment when I inquire about his sexual habits. It just doesn't matter anymore at his age, so he considers it normal. However, he is unaware of the changes occurring inside his body. A man's prostate continues to function even after he stops ejaculating for extended periods of time. In anticipation of a signal that never materializes, it keeps generating seminal fluid. As that fluid thickens over time, the gland experiences mild pressure. The oxygen supply to those tissues deteriorates, and the blood flow that once rushed through the pelvic area during arousal slows down. Blood flow may be hampered by the tightening and loss of flexibility of the pelvic floor muscles if they are not regularly released. Hormones also start to change. The complex feedback loop between the brain and the testes is how the male body functions, you see. Every ejaculation transmits a signal that aids in the regulation of oxytocin, dopamine, and testosterone, the very substances that maintain your emotional equilibrium, motivation, and composure. In the absence of that signal, your mood may become dreary, your dopamine levels may plateau, and your testosterone levels may decline. You may find that you no longer feel like yourself, that your sleep gets lighter, or that you wake up without morning erections. Your spark isn't being stolen by aging. It is a state of stagnation. Men who inhibit this normal process also carry a secret emotional burden. Many of my patients express a sense of subtle annoyance, as if life had lost its rhythm. They may not express it verbally, but they sense it. In actuality, ejaculation was never solely for sexual gratification. It's a biological reset button that makes your body feel more mobile, increases circulation, and releases tension. Without it, you may start to feel emotionally, physically, and cognitively stuck. And this is possibly the most unexpected aspect. It's like turning on a switch when a man resumes regular ejaculation after a protracted period of abstention. The attitude improves, the posture shifts, the face brightens, and the energy returns. I have witnessed men who believed they were done, suddenly rediscovering that spark they believed had vanished forever. However, that is only the start, because the next question becomes much more significant if you know what occurs inside the body when you cease releasing. In reality, how can ejaculation shield your prostate from illness? The science becomes genuinely enlightening at that point. 3. The scientific connection between ejaculation and prostate health. Over the years, I've been asked by a lot of men if ejaculation actually affects the health of my prostate, and each time I give them the truth while maintaining eye contact. It does, indeed. It's because your prostate depends on it to survive, not because it's about youth or desire. This is science, not opinion. The function of your prostate extends beyond reproduction. Being a live, breathing gland, it needs to be active in order to remain healthy. It is comparable to the heart or lungs. It starts to lose strength when you stop utilizing it. Let me give you a basic explanation. Producing and storing seminal fluid, the fluid that feeds and shields sperm, is the primary function of your prostate. You're cleaning that system when you discharge, not just ejaculating. Old, stagnant fluid that may otherwise build up and irritate the gland is being flushed out. Long-term sitting causes the fluid to thicken, the ducts to constrict, and inflammation to increase. At that point, many men begin to experience discomfort, a weaker stream, or frequent nighttime urination cravings. They believe it's simply age, although stagnation deep within the gland is largely to blame. This is even supported by credible research. An astounding discovery was made by a Harvard research that tracked thousands of males over a number of years. Prostate cancer risk was considerably lower in men who ejaculated more than 20 times each month. Why? Because frequent ejaculation minimizes inflammation within the prostate, oxidative stress, and old cellular waste. It's similar to thoroughly cleaning your gland from the inside out. This system was created by nature for a purpose. It's release-based self-maintenance. Robert, one of my patients, came to me at the age of 68, as I recall. He was urinating a lot at night and felt pressure all the time. Something amazing occurred when we changed his prescription and urged him to start ejaculating in a healthy, controlled manner again. 2 months later, his symptoms subsided, his sleep became better, and he grinned as he told me, "Doctor, I feel like my body woke up again." That is the power of release and circulation. It brings equilibrium to a system that was never intended to remain still. Thus, it is evident from science. Ejaculation lowers danger, protects your prostate, and maintains the healthy operation of that essential system. It's among the most basic yet often disregarded ways for guys to take care of themselves. Even while physical protection is crucial, every time you release, something deeper takes place. A hormonal phenomenon. Something that has a direct bearing on your drive, concentration, and sense of energy. You'll discover why this process involves far more than just the prostate once you comprehend that connection. 4. Hormonal balance, the feedback loop between vitality and release. Every time a man ejaculates, his body undergoes a remarkable physiological event. An emotional state, hormones, and his brain are all connected by a chemical symphony. It's more than just a releasing moment. The entire male system is being reset and recalibrated. I've witnessed it repeatedly in my patients. Men in their 60s, 70s, and older arrive at my office exhausted, lethargic, and lacking their former enthusiasm. Their eyes brighten, their posture alters, and they feel alive again, as if a light flips back on inside of them after they have regained a natural, healthy rhythm of release. That's how hormonal balance works. Dopamine, oxytocin, prolactin, and other chemicals are released by your brain when you ejaculate, and they are all essential for your mood, thoughts, and overall functioning. Dopamine helps you stay motivated and focused. Oxytocin promotes calmness and connection. Prolactin aids in relaxation and rejuvenation. By keeping your brain and testes in communication, the act itself also aids in controlling the synthesis of testosterone. Maintaining this cycle keeps your energy levels constant, your mood stable, and your testosterone levels balanced. However, that feedback loop starts to wane when you completely stop releasing. Your body subtly wanders out of tune, testosterone drops, and your brain gets no signal. When they haven't discharged in a long time, men frequently tell me they feel flat. They're not making this up. Dopamine levels drop in the absence of regular sexual activity, including self-stimulation, which makes life seem a little more boring. Motivation dwindles, and even minor chores start to feel burdensome. The reason for this is because the male body is made to move, not to be still. Energy is not wasted during healthy ejaculation. It brings it back. It maintains hormone function, blood flow, and emotional equilibrium. Furthermore, the advantages extend beyond chemistry. Maintaining this pattern has a psychological, even spiritual component. A profound truth is reinforced when you honor desire in a healthy way and let yourself feel it without shame. You're still a man, still strong, and still alive. I've seen men regain their self-confidence just by getting back in touch with this aspect of themselves. They speak differently, stand straighter, and exude a calm confidence that only arises when the body, hormones, and mind are in harmony. This is where things become even more intriguing, though. Another change starts when that hormonal equilibrium is restored. Deep within your emotions, not only in your brain or blood. Because men's hormones aren't the only thing impacted when they inhibit their sexual rhythm. It alters their perceptions of life, relationships, and oneself. The next thing we need to discuss is that emotional transformation. I've sat across from hundreds of men who make the same silent admission. Why suppressing desire hurts you more than you think. I simply don't feel very well anymore, doctor. they are not discussing physical prowess. They are discussing the loss of the sensation of life and the inner flame. Many of them gave up on their sexuality years ago, frequently because they felt guilty, grieved, or thought it was irrelevant. However, they are unaware that something within of them started to wane the moment they stopped respecting that aspect of themselves. You don't get stronger by suppressing your desires. Your link to life itself is subtly weakened. Male sexuality is more than just the act, you see. It has to do with self-expression, self-assurance, and identity. The same circuits that drive your motivation, creativity, and curiosity are also shut down when you shut it down. Men I've encountered have become uncomfortable, reclusive, or even melancholy after decades of neglecting their own needs. They frequently say the same thing when we discuss it, so I assumed that chapter of my life was over. Here's the reality, though. Your body is still with you. You still have that desire. It has been awaiting authorization to awaken once more. In its healthiest state, ejaculation is more than just a physical discharge. This exhale is emotional. It informs your brain that pleasure, connection, and relaxation are still available, resets your neurological system, and reduces stress hormones. That pressure doesn't go away after you stop releasing. Tension is the result. It manifests as restlessness, irritation, or a subtle frustration that defies explanation. I've witnessed men lose their sense of joy, marriages deteriorate, and spirits wane just because they stopped letting their bodies experience emotions. And the majority of guys are unaware of this. Your hormones and emotions are always talking to each other. Your brain rewards you with clarity and serenity when you express desire in a healthy way, free from guilt or shame. However, your brain starts to link intimacy to discomfort when you deny it. The emotional door gradually closes. Because of this, a lot of elderly guys start to feel numb or invisible. Age isn't the problem. Disconnection is the cause. However, something significant occurs when you reestablish contact and give yourself permission to feel again. Your energy opens, your body relaxes, and you start to feel thankful and full of life again. I was once told by one of my patients, "It feels like I woke up after years of sleep." That's how sexual equilibrium promotes emotional well-being. And don't believe that awakening is just about feeling. The element that most guys ignore is what follows: the doable, tangible methods to reestablish this connection in a safe, organic, and self-assured manner, even if it has been years. 6. How to safely and healthily ejaculate beyond 60. By the time most men reach their 60s, the topic of sex has already become largely forgotten. As if desire has a finite lifespan, society advises people to slow down and prioritize comfort above passion. However, I can confidently tell you this since I have dedicated my life to researching men's health. Your body just forgets how to maintain its connection to pleasure. Not that it loses the capacity to feel it. Doing as well as you did when you were 20 is not the aim. The goal is to regain equilibrium. Should realize that ejaculating healthily after the age of 60 is restorative rather than irresponsible. Letting go of the need to perform is the first step. For many guys, their sexual ability has been a source of shame, anxiety, or disappointment for years. The circulation and nerve flow required for a spontaneous release can be blocked by that stress alone. Therefore, begin by changing your perspective. This has nothing to do with demonstrating anything. It's about keeping your hormones, your sense of self, and your prostate healthy. Allow yourself to feel arousal, stimulation, and contact without hurrying. The procedure itself helps balance testosterone, decreases prostate congestion, and increases blood flow. It's astonishing how vital hydration is. Dehydration increases with age and thickens seminal fluid, which makes the prostate's job of releasing fluid more difficult. Your body's natural cleansing mechanism is supported when you drink water throughout the day. Mild exercise is also beneficial. Men's Kegel exercises, pelvic stretches, or easy walks. These maintain the entire system active and oxygenated while strengthening the muscles surrounding the prostate. Don't let the fact that you are single make you incapable of taking care of your health. In order to avoid stagnation, self-stimulation is safe and even advised for males over 60. It has nothing to do with indulgence or imagination. It has to do with function. Just as your heart must beat and your lungs must breathe, your body must be freed. Most men find that once or twice a week is best, but it's important to pay attention to your body. Your prostate is requesting attention if you experience pressure or discomfort in your groin or lower abdomen. Mindfulness is the most important factor. Allow every encounter to be leisurely, serene, and guilt-free. After that, inhale deeply, observe the tranquility that ensues, and feel your body relax. That's your body realizing that it's alive and competent, your hormones adjusting, and your nervous system restoring itself. However, there is another aspect of this story that frequently worries men, even if knowing how to release safely is essential. For example, what occurs if you attempt to ejaculate but fail to produce any semen? Your body is attempting to tell you something far more serious at that point, and it's time to discuss what that entails. 7. It can be a shocking experience when you ejaculate and no semen emerges. You feel the same familiar contractions as you achieve climax, but nothing emerges when you glance down. This happens to many men over 60, and they instantly feel ashamed or panicked. They question whether they've lost their masculinity, whether something is damaged, or whether this is the beginning of the end. I want you to listen intently and inhale deeply. It's not over yet. It's an indication. If you pay close attention to what your body is telling you, it may be able to safeguard your health for years to come. Retrograde ejaculation is the most frequent reason why semen does not arrive during ejaculation. Semen does not exit the body through the penis in this circumstance. Rather, it enters the bladder in reverse. It sounds scary, but it's not a loss of function. Rather, it's a mechanical problem. It is frequently linked to drugs that relax the neck of the bladder excessively, such as those used to treat high blood pressure or prostate enlargement. The semen then goes where it shouldn't by choosing the easiest route. Although it isn't harmful on its own, it does signal that your reproductive system's balance has to be adjusted. Reduced generation of seminal fluid may also be the cause of little or no semen. The prostate and seminal vesicles' capacity to generate fluid may deteriorate with aging and a decrease in testosterone levels. Your body isn't deteriorating because of that. It indicates that it is slowing down and requires maintenance, just like any other system. You should not disregard this light, any more than you would disregard a check engine light on your vehicle. It's your body's subliminal signal to get back into equilibrium before more serious issues occur. Alan, a 72-year-old patient of mine, approached me with concerns after observing this exact issue. We added pelvic floor exercises, changed his prescriptions, increased his hydration, and naturally supported his hormone levels. His ejaculation returned to normal within weeks, and he also reported feeling more energized, getting better sleep, and having a clearer head. This is because treating the underlying source of the problem revitalizes the entire system rather than just treating a single symptom. Don't be ashamed if this occurs to you. Take it seriously, consult your physician, and ask questions. It isn't an indication of weakness. Your body is requesting respect, care, and attention. The next phase is much more potent if you get what this signal indicates, since there is something deeper at play that affects your confidence, your energy, and the way you live your life. And that's where real change starts. 8. The deeper meaning, confidence, renewal, and connection. I've seen this moment in my office several times. A man, usually in his late 60s or early 70s, who enters bearing the silent burden of years of alienation. His confidence is nearly gone. His spirit is a little lighter, and his body seems slower. However, something nearly amazing occurs when he starts to reestablish his sexual health out of true regard for his body rather than ego or performance. His speech grows more steady, his face relaxes, his posture shifts, and he starts to resemble himself once more. Sexual activity is not the focus of this metamorphosis. The 3 foundations of a man's vitality, connection, regeneration, and confidence, are what it's all about. A man no longer views ejaculation as unimportant or humiliating after he learns to appreciate and understand his body's natural rhythm. He begins to interpret it as a dialogue with his own biology, an indication that he is still alive. I've always thought that being able to control your body and emotions without fear is what defines masculine strength, not youth or domination. That is the beginning of true power. A man feels something more profound than pleasure when he lets go, mindfully, peacefully, and purposefully. Relief, presence, and a sense of self-identity return to him. This insight is the foundation of confidence. It makes the difference between a man who enters a room looking for approval and one who exudes inner peace. When properly understood, ejaculation contributes to that equilibrium. It's not about demonstrating virility or pursuing passion. It's about letting the flow of emotions, tension, and energy occur. Men frequently report feeling lighter, more focused, and more emotionally open when this occurs on a regular and healthy basis. They have a stronger connection to life in general and to their lovers in particular. One patient told me, "Doctor," and everything changed once I stopped feeling guilty about wanting to feel alive once more. Not because of sex per se, but because I've finally come to terms with the fact that I'm still a guy, my confidence returned. It's a powerful acceptance. Compared to the body, it heals far more. Identity, dignity, and hope are restored. Realize that every decision you make to reestablish a connection and respect your body's natural rhythm is an act of self-respect as you start to grasp this deeper meaning. And your inner strength starts to come back the more you do it. However, that revitalization doesn't end there. Because what happens if you take this knowledge and apply it to your daily life? The outcome has the power to fundamentally alter not just your health, but also how you spend the rest of your life. 9. Regaining your power, living whole, not fearfully. You have already demonstrated all that you need to demonstrate at this point in your life. You have created, battled, loved, lost, and persevered. However, many men begin to play small somewhere along the line. They start to live cautiously rather than completely, stop paying attention to their bodies, and stop respecting their instincts. I've witnessed it far too often. Men who used to have fire in their eyes now live their lives as though they must tread carefully because they are terrified of what is typical for their age. Let me explain. Aging doesn't have to make you smaller. You're not supposed to die quietly. You are destined for powerful evolution. Regaining your life force is the first step towards regaining your sexual health. Your body sends you a reminder that you are still alive with each heartbeat, breath, and release. You start to see aging differently once you start to pay attention to those messages. It's not a drop. It's sophistication. You've gained wisdom, perseverance, and patience, and you become unstoppable when you combine those with a body that still has the capacity for vitality. Chasing youth is not the aim. The goal is to master maturity. To realize that if you have the guts to maintain your desire, it grows stronger rather than fading. By reestablishing a connection with this reality, I have encountered men in their 70s who have rekindled their relationships. They grew more self-assured, grounded, and affectionate because they no longer lived in fear of their own bodies, not because of a pill or supplement. They started to view their sexual energy as an essential component of their well-being rather than a holdover from their youth. "It's not about being 20 again, doctor," one man told me. "Regaining a sense of wholeness is the goal." He was correct. That's the main idea, completeness. Because something else starts to happen once you get this energy back. Your posture shifts. Your mind becomes more acute. Even your purpose becomes more apparent. This is due to the fact that a man begins to live with intention once more when he feels connected to his vitality. He chuckles more. He is a better listener. He navigates the world as if he were a part of it, and people are drawn to that vibe. Indeed, it has to do with the prostate, hormones, and physical well-being. But there's more to it than that, dropping way you appear in your personal life. And that's our next destination, how to sustain this vitality on a daily basis, regardless of age, by easy yet effective behaviors that make you feel powerful, vibrant, and alluring. 10. Your plan of action. 3 steps beginning tonight. It's time to put your knowledge into practice now that you realize how important this procedure is, because nothing is changed by information alone. I've always explained to my patients that taking a supplement, going to the gym, or taking a tablet won't help them regain their vitality after the age of 60. A decision is the first step, a choice to pay attention to your body once more and stop disregarding it. It's not necessary to completely change your life all at once. All you need to do is make the first deliberate, tiny step back toward connection. And you can start tonight. Awareness is the first step. Spend some peaceful time getting back in touch with yourself, guilt-free and without judgment. Consider how long you've been ignoring your innate desires and how frequently you've written them off as irrelevant or improper. Recognize that those signals are reminders of your body's continued vitality, not signs of weakness. Appreciate that your system is still functional, still generates energy, and still demands recognition. Just this awareness starts to bring your body and mind back into harmony. Reintroduction is the second step. Don't hurry or push things. Begin gradually, calmly, and patiently. Mindful contact, gentle stimulation, or even a brief, unplanned moment of arousal. Here's how to safely awaken your body's rhythm. Connection, not performance or climax, is the aim. You're increasing blood flow, reducing stress, and telling your brain that release and pleasure are still a part of your design with every experience. Consider it a kind of physical treatment for your masculinity, a slow but steady return to your power and self-assurance. Reflection is the third step. After releasing, take a moment to observe your mental and physical well-being. The majority of males express a lasting sense of serenity, clarity, and quiet confidence. That sensation is your body thanking you for allowing it to function as it was designed to, your hormones balancing, and your nervous system resetting. Be proud of that. It indicates that, unlike most men, you have taken charge of your health. Despite their apparent simplicity, these 3 steps have a lot of power. They not only restore function, but also identity when regularly practiced. Because this procedure is fundamentally about wholeness rather than sex, this is where most men are surprised. Following this approach causes the alterations to become visible outside of your body. They start to manifest in your voice, your eyes, and your mannerisms. The plot really comes full circle at that point. And that's precisely what we'll find out in my last communication to you. 11. Last words. You are not done yet, gentlemen. After everything we've talked about, if there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this. You're not finished yet. You are not past your prime, too old, or unnoticeable. In actuality, you are in a phase of life that has the potential to be more significant, powerful, and anchored than any previous one. You have tolerance, fortitude, and wisdom from your years of life. The only thing left to do is get back in touch with the aspect of yourself that has always existed, the energy, purpose, and connection-driven portion. 12. Ejaculation. Ejaculation is not about demonstrating virility or seeking youth. It's about realizing that life's language is still communicated via your body. Your body uses every release and intimate moment to maintain equilibrium, strength, and alertness. Ignoring it causes you to become disconnected from who you are, but you start to feel complete again when you appreciate it, acknowledge it, and be patient. You begin to think more clearly, sleep better, and move more confidently. This is because everything in your body, hormones, circulation, emotions, is functioning as nature intended. I've seen this metamorphosis innumerable times. By just listening to their bodies, men who arrived at my office feeling exhausted, disengaged, and unsure of themselves were able to rediscover who they were. They didn't change who they were. They developed into their true selves. That is this process's silent marvel. A deeper kind of strength, the strength of peace, is revealed when you let go of guilt and view release as a kind of regeneration rather than pleasure. Being older does not equate to losing your masculinity. It entails developing into it. You deserve to live without fear, without shame, and without acting as though this aspect of yourself is no longer important. You don't realize how important it is, because your heart follows your body when it feels alive. You begin to laugh more readily, love more completely, and go about your daily life with the steady, quiet confidence that comes only from experience. This is your chance to start over if you've been quiet, waiting, or unsure. Nobody should persuade you that this chapter is finished. There's too much life remaining for you. Take good care of your body, pay attention to its cues, and accept its rhythm. Because there is still a fire that hasn't gone out inside of you right now. All it needs is for you to notice it once more. Additionally, keep in mind that your strength is not determined by your past actions as you proceed from this point on. It is determined by how profoundly you decide to live in the present.